Good day, nerds, and welcome to episode 78 of the Nerd Cantina Show. I'm your host, Ken, joined by my co-host, Steve, and we're going to cover this week's nerd news. We're going to start with some entertainment talk regarding the pushback of Doctor Strange 2 in order to make some room for Spider-Man 3. HBO Max is set to release here at the end of May. And then in some video game news, we've got source code leaked in Valve games and a security breach in Nintendo. And we'll move over into some more tech news regarding a Facebook hack, the latest technology in deepfakes and Zoom bombing, and then we'll wrap up the show with a little bit of space talk. All right, let's get to all this news.
Calling back all nerds. Nerds!
All right, here we are with episode 78, and I know you want to talk about a new show as we're all still here stuck at home, but we got some streaming competitors coming out the gate. Apple Plus with a new show that I have yet to see, as I'm still not committing to it.
So they've done a decent, I guess, job of advertising it. So I don't know how much news it is, but I did want to let people know that it is pretty quality. I'm going to try to do a written review this week too. But you know, Chris Evans, the main actor, it's always good to see him exploring different roles. You know, he's a fan favorite with Marvel, so it's good to see him branching out. It's kind of a murder trial mystery like mini series. Chris Evans plays a district attorney. His son is accused of murdering another kid, and it's all about how it unravels the family, unravels the town, unravels. It's very dramatic, very intense. The first 3 episodes popped up on Apple Plus on Friday, I want to say. So I kind of like this model. Hulu does it. Apple Plus is doing it, where they give you the first 3, and then they're like, all right, now we got you hooked. We're going to come out weekly and we're going to spread it out. You know, I almost prefer that than the Netflix binge, just because you get some time to decompress every episode. You get some time to create a little bit of buzz around it, have some conversations without like spoiling it too much. You know, if you're watching it weekly, you got to have a conversation with a friend and not be like, well, what episode are you on? Oh, I got 2 more left. Oh, well, I finished it. Okay, I can't say this. And it kind of squashes the conversation around the shows. So I kind of prefer this model. You know, I'm a patient person. I can wait for the episodes to post weekly. I'm
the same way. I don't binge very much at all. So like, yeah, when something releases on Netflix or the next season, when Ozark season 3 releases and everything else, and everybody,
you gotta like race before someone fucks it up for you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because you know there's an asshole that spent 8 hours watching it in one day, and now you got to race to watch the 8 before some dickhead just doesn't care and puts out a meme or a spoiler, and you're just like, well, fuck. You know, sorry, I have children and adult responsibilities, and I can't get to 8 hours in one day.
Yeah, but like with devs coming out, I could keep up with devs, and I can make sure that I'm no more than a day behind the world on devs. But if they launched devs at one time, I still wasn't going to finish it in faster than 7 weeks.
Yeah. No, I prefer it, you know, but it's really good. It keeps you like at the edge of your seat on what's going on. Chris Evans is great in it. I'm trying to think of any other like major actors, some familiar faces, but no other like huge major people in it. But I definitely suggest people give it a try. So as I was telling you before we started recording, if you haven't given Apple TV a try yet, the morning show and this Defending Jacob are worth starting a free trial and then paying a $5 the next month to finish Defending Jacob. And then if you want to cancel. But those 2 shows alone are worth a $5 to $10 investment. You know, you pay more to rent, to buy a Blu-ray or see a movie. So to me, having 2 really quality miniseries for the cost of $5 to $10 is well worth the investment.
And then you can always check out an episode or 2 of C just for the hilarity and shenanigans of of some blind Jason Momoa
in a masturbating priest. Man, I like we shit on the show after I watched the first couple episodes. The
still
one time
you didn't finish it.
And then it got like 80% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, I'm still upset that you didn't finish it. Apparently, it's great.
Yeah, apparently. I just didn't give it enough time. Like, no thanks.
It's just, that's everybody who just likes seeing a shirtless Momoa, just watching it and giving it Rotten Tomatoes. Everybody else stopped watching it, never rated it, never did anything.
Yeah, like...
It just says 80% of the people watching it were just interested in watching him. That's it.
Or just like the bar for quality TV has just been lowered so much. People are willing to just consume whatever nowadays.
Also possible. All right, but we could jump into some of these articles and topics we were discussing this week. And one of the first ones is, this one's not necessarily being announced as due to COVID, but we've got a little bit of a shuffle here for Marvel's slate, and that's in order to make room for Spider-Man 3. So Spider-Man 3 has now got a new release date, and it's pushing back Doctor Strange 2 all the way out to 2022.
Well, I mean, you can blame this on the next Spider-Man. They said the word home is going to be, and I guess that's going to be the theme for all the titles of this Spider-Man franchise. It's going to have some version of home in it. But, I mean, really, it's a bit of this and COVID. I mean, none of these movies were going to come out when they thought, they re-released a new schedule after the quarantine went up with like optimistic hopes. And now the quarantine just keeps getting extended and extended. So, I mean, I don't understand, like, why even have target dates yet? Just wait. Just have Black Widow in the chamber, and the minute they open theaters again, be like, boom, let's go. Like, here it is. Like, Black Widow. Let's ride, folks. So
I mean, they gotta have target dates, because what the hell else are we going to talk about? But I'm actually upset about the Doctor Strange one getting pushed back. Now it's March 25th, 2022 is the date for it. We're looking at Spider-Man Homecoming is November 5th, 2021. Instead of that was the original release date for Doctor Strange. I think of all of the Marvel slate, Doctor Strange is the one that I'm looking most forward to. I think that one's going to be the most telling to the direction that the Marvel movies are going to go. It's got the potential to just throw a monkey wrench in everything, depending on how they play out the multiverse and tie in with, that's supposed to be the tie-in between WandaVision and Doctor Strange, and then tie in on how they break the world.
Clean up all this time travel multiverse shit that they undid in Endgame, and
so I'm most interested in this one, and I like the original Doctor Strange. I think that character is one
it was good.
That's underrated. I think people don't necessarily.
I'm excited to see what they do with the Eternals. Just because of what they did with Guardians initially when they took this franchise that nobody really knew about and they turned it into just gold. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what they do with the Eternals, especially with the cast that they casted for that. Like, I have the comics. I've read the comics. I have them all in issue. Once again, Marvel, thank you very much for increasing my investment. But I'm looking forward to kind of seeing where they take that. New Mutants is just in limbo. Ileana is one of my favorite X-Men characters. I was really looking forward to them bringing her into the MCU, and I don't. This movie has just been doomed from the start. Like,
just do straight to streaming. Call it a day.
We're getting more straight to streaming movies. Scooby-Doo just announced that they're going to go straight to streaming. They're taking the Trolls route and saying fuck them theaters. We need that money back.
I'm still upset I haven't seen any figures that says similar like what we get with box office reporting.
Yeah, why don't
how much? The only thing they've they pat themselves on the back saying that they broke records on
streaming.
The streaming release, but they don't say what that equals.
When you're the first to do it, did you really break a record? Like you're the first major movie to do this in a very extenuating circumstances that are forcing people to do this. Like, no other movie had every theater closed when they released to streaming, so you really can't set that as the benchmark.
But I mean, I'm just curious, is it somewhat comparable to a small release in theaters? Is it like, hey, we set records. Oh, we still only made 5 million. Like, what does it actually?
Yeah,
turn out to be?
I'm really curious as to how it goes, because some parents, like, so I bought it for $20 and watched it for 2 days with my 5-year-old, and then my 5-year-old went to her mom's house and then convinced her mom to spend $20 on it for 2 more days that week. so out of my child, they got $40 because yeah, hashtag divorced life. She got Trolls twice. She don't get 2 Christmases and 2 birthday parties, but she gets 2 Trolls movies.
Well,
yeah. She worked the system. I can't blame her.
Yeah, she did. I'm not mad at her one bit. This is it's an interesting model on what they're going to do. I do still think more are going to get released. I think this week we've got Georgia being the test bed to opening up theaters this week, and I still don't know who the hell's going to those theaters. I guess some people.
Me.
Like, there's still going to be people going.
Okay,
but it's not going to be packed
look
out
at
theaters.
it like this. So I go see movies after 8:00 on a Thursday to write my reviews. Every Thursday, I find the 8:30, the 8:00, the 9:00, the 10:00 show, whatever new movie releases. I go see the movie. If I have time and I'm not tired as hell, I'll maybe start the review that night. If not, I write it on Friday. When I go to that Thursday showing, there's like 4 people in the theater.
Unless it's the major releases.
Even some of the major ones, man. Nobody goes on a Thursday at 10:00. Like Fridays, like the ones where they don't offer a late Thursday movie and I have to go on a Friday. Yeah, that Friday show is a little crowded. But I'm telling you right now, 95% of the Thursday night movies I go to have less than 10 people in the theater. All right. Why am I not able to go write movie reviews? This is like it's stupid. I say the same thing about the golf courses. Why are golf courses closed and going bankrupt right now? Other than the foursome you're with, you are 300 yards from the next group of people. You know what I mean? Put some restrictions on the clubhouse. Put some restrictions like don't let sell carts. Make everybody walk. You have to walk and keep a social distance from your foursome, and you're 300 yards away from the next guy. Why we're letting these golf courses lose tank money and stuff, like the just overall blanket approach to this is just dumb when there's people that are losing money and losing their livelihoods that really don't need to be right now. Like we can do this smarter, and it's been so long that we've been on quarantine that I just don't understand why we're not doing this smarter.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see here this week, and we'll see how many people start showing up to the movies.
We got some Cantina members in Atlanta and in Georgia. So, all right, guinea pigs, let us know how this all goes down.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, but the theaters can't. I mean, they're not going to be doing well if only the 10 people are showing up in the Thursday night shows. They need the packed Friday and Saturdays.
That's when they make their money. Nothing right now.
Maybe. It's
better than nothing. Take a couple of these teenagers, make them like the old time ushers with the flashlights. Make sure that people aren't sitting like everybody's got bubbles around me. Nobody's sitting in front of me. Nobody's sitting to the side. Nobody's sitting behind me. And 30 people a theater is better than 0 people a theater when AMC is dying and about to go out of business. Because a lot of it, I pay with my A-list, so they're just looking for a reason to reactivate my A-list. So start charging me my $20 a month again, man. But let me go see a movie with 6 other people. Yeah,
it's definitely an interesting time. So we'll see. Let's see how Atlanta does it. I'm sure there's other states ready to move forward with it. And then we've got, moving into some other entertainment news, we've got HBO Max. Since the theaters are not open, HBO Max is looking to open this month. So May 27th, I believe it is, here at the end of May, HBO Max is going to start their streaming service. And still, I still haven't seen a ton. I haven't looked into it a ton either. But as far as what is exactly getting offered from HBO Max.
Do I cancel my HBO subscription through Hulu and just go with Max? Do I need them both? Do I get a bundle price? Like, so what the fuck, bro?
The pricing was released, and if you already have a premium HBO account, you get access to HBO Max. So if you already have the the premium access to it through the other services, you'll have access to HBO Max. HBO Max can then be purchased as a separate thing, and it's more about. I hate the fact that they even called it HBO. So what's the
difference between HBO Max and HBO Now?
So the difference is all of the Warner Media.
So
Warner Media owns
like,
HBO.
What is this?
This should be called
HBO
Warner
Now
streaming
gonna
service.
is HBO Now going to go away? Like, are they just rebranding?
No, HBO Now still remains. HBO Now remains.
Why would you
HBO
need Now
Go
if you have
remains.
Max? Like,
and HBO Max is now a $15 a month standalone service, which is on the pricier end of things, but it'll give you access to all of the HBO content as well as with their
that's what I pay a month for HBO anyways.
Yeah.
You know, like,
and it's also what they're advertising. They're advertising 10,000 hours. So 10,000 hours of Warner Media stuff. So even things that you wouldn't think of, like Friends being on there, Friends being an NBC show, you'd think that would go to Peacock. That's actually owned by Warner Media. That's going to be a part of HBO Max, not NBC Universal's Peacock service. Big Bang Theory is going to be one of their staple shows to binge your way through on Warner Media.
How's it not on CBS? All
because
access? Like, yeah, it's
Warner
crazy.
Media owns it. I mean, it's these weird contracts and who owns the rights to these different shows. So HBO Max has a large catalog of movies and shows because Warner Media has been doing a ton over the years, even down to like all of, I think Sesame Street eventually is going to be on there for kids. And
well, yeah, Sesame Street's on
Warner Media.
HBO. Like, my daughter watches Sesame Street all the time. It's on HBO, which always kind of like blew my mind that this public access TV show that was free for the world to better our children, HBO's like, nah, paywall. Paywall. Fuck your kids.
But yeah, so the pricing models and everything around what is HBO Go, HBO Now, and HBO Max is still a bit confusing. But in the end, you're going to get with it just a ton of Warner Brothers properties, and I just wish they called it something relating to Warner Brothers and get away from this HBO name. But I guess when HBO makes all the money, that's what Warner Media is going to fall to, is naming it yet another HBO service. But that still comes out in May 27th. So I'm sure they'll release a fuller look at their catalog and everything else kind of the week or two leading into it, trying to get some free trials out there and whatever else everybody's going to do. It's got to be, I mean, at this point in time, yeah, I get HBO has its own draw, and I guess $15 a month is what people pay for HBO. I'm enjoying the free HBO shows that they've now added to like Hulu and stuff during this COVID. I'm finally watching Silicon Valley.
Really?
Yeah,
it's such a great show. It's such a great show.
So far, it's great. I'm a couple episodes in on my downtime,
and it's only a half hour, so you get to really kind of pound out a couple. Like, if you're used to blocking out an hour for a show, you get two. It's a twofer.
Yeah. I think that, and I think the wife and I are going to watch Veep, all the Veeps.
I've always caught a few episodes here and there, but I've never like continuously watched it. That is something on my list of things to do. I'm finishing up Westworld. I finished season 2 last night, so I'm going to start season 3 this week. But that show's a mind fuck. It really is. It's a mind fuck.
But that's going to kind of transitions. We're now going to play the middle ground between entertainment and tech, as we're going to talk about Ars Technica has written articles. A couple others have talked about. Valve has confirmed that there was a code leak for two of their online games. The primary ones are are CS:GO, so Counter-Strike Go, and Team Fortress 2 have both lost their
most played games, probably. I would assume. And
their source code for those games have been linked online by somebody that they claim has mental health problems and was an employee, and the source code was leaked, and it's source code from 2018, but the versions of the games are still using the source code, although albeit there's multiple patches and things afterwards, but there still is threats that security experts and have said that there's possibility for remote exploitation for people to gain like remote control of your computer in order to install malware, in order to gain access to things within your computer if they have that source code, and they go find certain exploits that are going to exist if anybody gets control of.
Yeah, we're going to have to reach out to Bill again and have him dive deep into like some of the real dangers of this. Like, I understand some of the ramifications that come with these kinds of codes leaking. It is intellectual property, that kind of part I kind of do understand, but how having source codes of games can give people backdoors into your system while you're playing, like, I'm not really sure how that works.
So I tried to figure out, because I'm definitely no white hat hacker or anything like that to know how this is. So I did go and watch some videos and read some additional articles on this. And what I was able to find is that really the greatest threat. So Valve is saying that there's no threat. If you're playing on their servers, you're playing in through their game, you can continue playing, and there's no threat. Where the threat is sometimes people go and play on private servers or play on additional external servers outside of the official servers provided by Valve.
So they're afraid someone's going to create a malicious server with the source code and recruit people in there.
Yes.
And okay, so
you can create private games, private servers, invite people into those games, and then when they enter into those games, you can then build in the malware and install the malware when you have control of it. But it's not like you can go and modify the source code in a server that Valve is hosting and go in there and tinker with their source code in their server. So as long as you're playing official games and you're going, there's no reason to stop playing.
So is that the major thing they're worried about, or is it equal parts malicious servers versus someone developing a game using our source code and using our proprietary property and benefiting off of a competitive game?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure in the background they're pissed off about just somebody having their intellectual property
that's a big thing. So a lot of games use the same engine, right? Like the button smashers. So like you could tell when a game feels a lot like another game, it's because they use the same engine to drive the graphics and everything like that. So they have very similar mechanics and things like that. So I'm not sure as to how much they're worried about, people just using that engine, because I'm assuming that's big money when a developer's like, hey, we got this idea for this game, can we use the Unreal Engine? And they have to pay, those developers to be able to use that. And so I don't know how much money's being lost if they're able to sell this to other developers or. Yeah, man, we got to call Bill. We'll call Bill.
Yeah,
we'll create a list.
Smarter people.
Yeah, we'll create a list and get a better egghead in here to dive deep into this, maybe.
Yeah, but one thing I did want to look into is whether anybody who's listening should be concerned and stop playing the game for a period of time. And from everything that I've been able to read from actual technical experts who've talked about this or written about this, is that if you're playing on official servers, there's no greater threat than there was 2 weeks ago before the source code was leaked online for playing online games on Valve servers. If you're invited into somebody's private server or some weird like competition room or something like that, maybe hold off for a couple weeks until there's additional patches and things repaired, as there's many like actual white hat hackers and stuff like that looking through the source code, trying to help Valve figure out how to fix this and cover any kind of flaws in that 2018 source code that they had.
Yeah, we got a couple breach stories for this week, with next being Nintendo with a major one.
Yeah, and Nintendo, they've addressed it. They admitted to it on their main website that they had a major security breach of a bunch of their actual, so the Nintendo Switch user accounts, a lot of their user accounts being hacked, and they don't know why yet. They have not come out with the cause of it, but they just know that there were a bunch of breaches. So really all they're encouraging people to do is, hey, keep playing your Switch, keep doing your Animal Crossing and everything else that you have going on. Just turn on two-factor authentication or two-step authentication on their system, and you'll be well protected from somebody just having your login credentials from this latest hack.
Which kind of brings us to a fun segment we wanted to do, because last week we did a PSA to kind of protect you guys from these kinds of things. Yeah,
and as Steve normally does, he offends a certain segment of every audience that we have, and going through the episode, he just essentially alluded to the fact that Karens have ruined TikTok anyway, so you might as well get rid of it. We still stand by the fact, just delete TikTok. There's I understand that you may be slightly entertained from it, but find entertainment elsewhere, not the Chinese spy company. But there was maybe some who thought that the use of Karen
some Cantina members definitely felt personally attacked.
Might have caught them up in that kind of category there. And really what Steve wanted to do this week is he's not trying to unintentionally offend anybody, but clarify what in fact is a Karen. So I developed a Jeff Foxworthy-esque list of you might be a Karen if. So I came up with about a dozen of these. So I'll just start rambling them off right now. You might be a Karen if you have an Instagram with no posts, because you be lurking. Get your nosy ass on somewhere. Stay out of people's business. You might be a Karen if you feel the need to give your opinion to a stranger while pushing a shopping cart. Like, yeah, for sure. Definitely Karens. All right. You might be a Karen if you have live, laugh, love anywhere in your house. Anywhere. I don't care if it's on a sign. If you put the decal up, you got that shit somewhere. Take your Karen ass on. You might be a Karen if you have a stick figure family on your van. Millions. There's millions of those. And yes, I'm pointing at you. You might be a Karen if you wear gym attire without ever going to the gym. Lululemon is not a fashion statement. Okay, Karen. You might be a Karen if you've ever said the words, I just can't. That's a blanket one there. That's a wide net.
Just casting it out. Just casting it out. You might be a Karen if you go to Target without a planned purchase. That's gonna make some people.
Another one. It's another wide net.
I said that to a few people, and they're like, "Oh, you got me. You got me." This is a given. You might be a Karen if you have ever asked to speak to a manager.
That's
it's a
baseline.
Given. You just might be. You might be a Karen if you write Yelp reviews. And lastly, you might be a Karen if you've ever volunteered at the Carol Baskin Tiger Sanctuary. Sucker.
So hopefully you were taking like tally marks of how many of those categories fell into you. I'm going to say 3 or more.
You're a fucking Karen.
Yeah. No, 3 or more. Go check your driver's license. It might say Karen. But
so try to work on that list. Delete TikTok. Post a selfie on Instagram if you got none. Let people know who you are. Quit lurking. Don't go to Target if you don't have to buy anything. It's not a hangout.
All right. Well, now we can move forward with that, and hopefully have helped a few people identify themselves in their areas of concern. But let's move into the last of some tech news. As you mentioned, we've got another. I guess it's an old hacker story in the sense that Facebook has had a ton of exploits. Last year, there was one of old profiles or old credentials in the tune of 267 million user profiles were hacked. And what's interesting about this story is that over the last week, we've get a company. I think it's Skip. I don't remember the name of the company. It's Cyber, or so, but they found that on the dark web, $540 will buy you the 267 million profiles. This follows last week. Zoom, the 500,000 account credentials being bought on the dark web. The Zoom credentials were being sold for 0.02 cents. And the only thing I'm upset about is, like, really, my data's got to be worth more than that, right? Like,
I feel personally offended that my email is not worth more than that. Like, so this must be like very little effort to be able to hack these, because like if you're hacking these systems and putting the risk of getting prosecuted and everything for $500, like either we need to really make it harder for these hackers to go in, which we talk about all the time. We definitely should, but we should also up the penalty if you get caught doing it to something that is way worse, worth more than $540. Like,
I mean, maybe this is just like a classic supply versus demands type of economics that now, once upon a time, these things were worth money, but nowadays, the people who are just buying these credentials are like, oh, I've already got them all. Like the supply has been there for a long time.
Well, like, I
really don't need more.
To like the dude in the nightclub bathroom that's selling loose cigarettes. Like, yeah, it's illegal. Yeah, but like, who's gonna bust me? And if I make $100 before I get busted, they're only gonna slap me on the wrist anyways. So I might as well do it. Like hackers are selling loosies on the dark web right now. Like, in my mind, it can't be like this. This is nothing money. This is nothing money. Like, you need $500. Tell somebody that you're going to do it and be like, no, here's just $500. Just leave it alone. Just stop. Like, can't we start a fund to just pay these hackers to not do this shit if that's all they want is $540?
Yeah. So I think there's two potential drivers that make this so cheap. One is on the negative side that the data's out there. There's so many people have the data that it's just gotten to a point where you can't charge a premium for it because somebody's going to undercut you and sell it for $540 because all of the data already exists and it's so prevalent that it's not worth paying for, which is scary. Or, I don't know, maybe the data is no longer that juicy because of new security measures and everything else in place that you really can't do very much with it, and you're not going to have you can't charge $10,000 for something that people can't make a ton of money off of anymore because our security measures are better. So that's on the positive side. Maybe that's the case. Somebody smarter than this, I'm sure,
put it on the list for Bill.
Behind this.
Put it on the list for Bill.
Damn it, Bill. We should
just patch him in right now. But yeah, I can't understand why you would go through all this trouble for $500. Get a job, you lazy fucking millennial. Get a fucking job.
All right, but I think that's the end of our hacking stories. But we do have another fun.
We do have a fun one with Zoom. Like,
so this one's it's kind of a fake headline in the sense the articles talk about how there was a fake Elon Musk Zoom bombs into some Zoom conference. And have you watched the video of it?
I've seen clips, yeah.
All right, so it's not the best deep fake in the world, but
people are drinking bleach right now, so like, there's a subset of humans that will fall for it. We know this.
But it comes, so it's not, like I said, it's not the best deepfake in the world, but it might be passable in something like Zoom or some of these other video services that are known to have kind of grainy video at times, have lag and dropouts. So it may be good enough. And the software that this programmer uses is it's open source. Anybody can go get it. The open source program, it's already kind of trained to do certain images, certain people's faces, like Albert Einstein and Barack Obama, and there's other people that are already kind of built into it. Elon Musk wasn't one of them, and all this person had to do was take this open source software and put in a database of images of Elon Musk, and then it was able to do it in real time and create the deepfake in real time, which is what's kind of crazy that this technology is getting to this point. So technically with that software, I can just take your face or anybody's face and just create a database of images.
This is something we talked in the Cantina conversation with Adam Dodge, wasn't it?
Right.
Yeah. So we did a deepfake episode with Adam Dodge. You can go in our archives and look up the Cantina conversation with him. And, he said it was right on the verge of, this kind of thing being rampant. He knew the technology was already there. It just wasn't popular yet. And now that you got one guy doing with Elon and it going viral and it's got us two assholes talking about it, God only knows, like who's, if you really think so this, I'm kind of torn here. So like I follow a few DJs that I've met at the nightclub when I worked there. And one of my favorite DJs is a guy, Chris Lake. Well, he is bored, quarantined, and he put on his like Facebook and social medias that, hey, drop your Zoom meeting code here and I might drop in on your meeting and hang out. And he did it to like 50 people, you know, like 50 Zoom meetings that just dropped into their little like Zoom house party. You know, had a good time, joked around with people, and then left and went into a new one. So like there are actual people right now trying to like bring some happiness to the world by dropping in on these Zoom calls. So this is like now do you know like
Well, and the reason why I said that the headline's kind of fake in the sense that they're talking about this being a Zoom bomb, that he went in and Zoom bombed. He didn't. This was a programmer who had a scheduled call with other programmers in his company, and he did it as a prank to them. So, like, he had the conference code.
Well, now
like,
all he has to do is type in 9 random numbers, and he could do it to anybody, though. Like, he can Zoom bomb. Like,
he can. He
has the tools to Zoom bomb.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, like, it's kind of, we're getting to that really scary place. I'm going to look forward to, though, like, the YouTube videos of, like, 4 people doing it as, like, the cast of The Office and making their own Office episode on Zoom or something. Like, there will be some fun that comes out of this, but for the most part, I really think it's just going to be, you know, for the lulls. People are just going to troll the shit out of people, you know, and then like, who knows, like, you know, there could be really bad things. Like if you put all your shit all over social media, who's to say I don't take 50 pictures of your grandma and then drop in on a Zoom call as your grandma talking about, I can't afford my diabetes medicine, send me $1,000 or they're going to evict me from my house. Don't you love your grandma? And I'm going to get your monies. Like, I
mean, yeah. And, you know, we already had the audio deepfake that had the company transfer, it was like $242,000 last year. Because they faked the audio of somebody called and said, hey, initiate a transfer within their own kind of directory. Well, you can add some greater credibility to it by doing it through video of a CEO of whatever else, giving press releases, doing whatever. There's some damage that can be done.
We got to think of it. We got to think and coin a name for this. Like we need to, you know, like how before it was catfishing. Like this, we got to think of a name, trademark it, TM. Like I'm drawing a blank now. I'm usually really good at this shit on the fly, but I'm drawing a blank now. But we got to come up with it fast. We got like 2 days before this airs.
Yeah, I've got nothing on the suggestions here. So yeah, it's just it's an interesting story. It to me is interesting in tech. I'm not so worried about the Zoom bomb thing with this regard, but it's just showing how far deepfakes are coming. That this one was it's pretty accessible. All he needed was a gaming computer. It didn't require some massive server, he had a strong gaming computer, a database of his own images of Elon Musk, and some open source software in order to come up with a pretty decent deepfake. Give it more time, give it a couple more months of development.
Now that he just said that, good. I'm like kind of curious that if he had to spend 3 hours Googling Elon Musk and save pictures, or if he just like was some weirdo with a cache of Elon images already on his computer.
Yeah. I don't know. Combine this with like Clearview AI's database of everything that they've already captured from everybody by data scraping for facial recognition purposes, and then now retake that same database of images and toss that into a deepfake computer or whatever else like this, and it gets scary.
Oh yeah, there's going to be some movie with a CIA agent that does some kind of crazy shit with this. Like we had Tom Cruise with the fake face on in Mission Impossible. This is just going to be the digital version in real life. Like yeah. they're gonna get on some call with some foreign dignitary and try to do some really crazy shit. Like, you know, this is going to happen if it already hasn't. I mean, if you really, so if you see Kim Jong-un give a speech in the next 2 weeks, I'd really question if it's dude. There's gonna be some fat Korean weekend at Bernie's Kim Jong-un from here on out. Like that dude's dead and long gone, but he's gonna rule for another 5 years due to deepfakes.
We don't know if he's dead. Don't
not
confirmed.
We're taking bets at the cantina. Drop. Give me some odds lines. Who's good at statistics? Because I'm betting that fat bastard died on the table.
All right. Well, let's move into, I guess, our last topics here with some space news. And first one being the Falcon 9 rocket has now surpassed any other rocket in history as far as total number of launches. The headline is that it's now the workhorse of America's space launches. It completed its 84th launch and recovery, as it's now becoming pretty mundane that these Falcon rockets can launch and self-recover to these autonomous drone shipping platforms out in the water, which still is absolutely amazing. Like the technology behind these rockets launching and then vertically landing themselves on a floating dock.
Yeah, it's not even constantly level. You know what I mean? It's not even constantly level.
That is a complete drone and just floating on its own and syncing up with this rocket on its own it is absolutely amazing that this is still happening. And for it to happen now 84 times, which surpasses, so there's a company called United Launch Alliance that had the Atlas V rocket, which previously had fired and recovered 84 times, which nobody even knows about this company. I've never heard really this company talked in recent memory. This company started in 2002 and was well before SpaceX firing and recovering these Atlas V rockets. But it has since now been surpassed by SpaceX, and Atlas V rocket is only launching like 5 a year, whereas SpaceX is averaging 17 flights a year per rocket.
I mean, it is really cool, but it's a little disheartening at the same time because you listen to all these AI guys and stuff like that, and they still say we're like 30 years away from self-driving cars. Like, we got a fucking rocket that can land itself coming home from outer space, but still no self-driving cars. It's a little disheartening.
But the Falcon 9 rocket, it's still on track for the end of May, as early as May 27th. I think it's all going to be dependent on weather and some other factors. But the rockets are prepared to do their first human launch of the Crew Dragon on May 27th is the target date. I'm sure it's going to flex based off of weather and other things. But SpaceX is still it's the leader in space innovation as well as actual human space flight for NASA.
Yeah, man. You can't really knock what anybody is doing over there, man. They're like, even their failures just lead to even greater successes. Like they're just pounding these things out. It's optimistic to see where this company goes in the future. Again, hindsight 2020, man. How do I not own this stock?
So one of my favorite parts of this article and these articles reading about this was, in passing the Atlas V rocket from United Launch Alliance, apparently there was some big rivalry with them and SpaceX, to the point that in like 2011 they had made advertisements and put on their website, the United Alliance put on their website saying that while the other guys, talking about SpaceX, launch powerful press conferences, we power launches of people and critical payloads, and while the others deliver press releases, we deliver astronauts and important communication. And then now, I'm sure like Elon Musk has had that like printed on his wall, a screenshot of that.
It's like that Notre Dame sign. He taps it every time he leaves his office.
somewhere he has had that, and has just been waiting for this day where he could just completely surpass anything that those guys did. Because they got to this technology first.
I'm surprised he doesn't tweet about it.
Early.
Like, bitch, you to Spirit Airlines of rockets. Like, sit your ass down. Like. Surprised he hasn't gotten into Twitter beef with it as much as he likes to do all that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I like to see the nerd fights, the nerd PR fights that were taking place between them.
Nerd fights are the best.
And then speaking of nerd fights, the next topic and last topic of the articles that we have is on Space Force has unveiled and is now talking about their first, what could be considered an offensive weapon, defensive weapon. I don't know what we want to call it. It's a weapon. It's a satellite jammer owned by the Space Force.
And if instantly when he said that, you didn't picture a big jar of jam running into a satellite like on Spaceballs, we can't be friends. we can't be friends.
That's good.
Like
that didn't come into my head though, so I that was not existing in my brain.
Hence the contrast of our show.
Yeah. And the Space Force, this is satellite jammer. This technology has been around for a little while. The United States has not actively stated that we had this capability or that we had this weapon.
I can't stop laughing. I'm sorry. It's raspberry. I can't stop. I'm losing it. It's too early for this shit.
It's been too long since I've seen that movie.
I love that fucking movie.
It's been too long since I've seen that movie.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm having a moment here. I love that goddamn movie. But yeah, we're gonna do some army shit in outer space from here on out. It's gonna be just part of our lives from now on.
So it's been known that like the Russians have had this capability for at least a year, if not multiple years. We all suspect that China's got this capability. The major powers have this capability, and it just shows that this was a need for the Space Force.
It's got to be common. Why would they make a fucking public announcement if it wasn't common?
Yeah, and this was the purpose of Space Force. Everybody wanted to talk about Space Force being, actually going out in outer space and flying. Well, no, nobody from the Space Force is going to go to space. Like, this is not the purpose of the Space Force.
Eventually.
Was not, maybe eventually, sure. Battlestar Galactica, we'll get there eventually. But the point of the Space Force was not to have rockets of people manning Space Force bases out in space, in orbit or anything like that. It was to have a dedicated service focused on the domain of space, the communication space and really focusing on defensive and offensive components there. So satellite jamming.
I'm curious as to how this works now. So like, is outer space considered like what would be technically like international waters? Or does like the borders of the United States extend throughout the galaxy? And if you have how does
this
all work?
Your satellite over our orbit is
how does this all work? Because if you could have planted a flag in outer space, somebody would have done it by now. I'm telling you right now, America would lay claim to all of the galaxy if it could. Milky Way, ours. Fight me. So I'm wondering how this, as more countries develop space forces, where do we draw our lines now? Because it's going to get, just think about all the potential conflicts we have from people, flying into airspace that they're not supposed to be in, and drones getting shot down and things like that. The more we focus to the stars, we're going to have a lot of these gray areas. And countries are going to be potentially shooting down, I'm assuming that we're going to eventually send up like space drones, spaceships with weaponry that no astronaut is actually in. We just fly it from down low. And yeah, we're like the future problems are going to be quite interesting.
Yeah. And this is why I think it's interesting. I'll take this as a slight research project. Let's see if I can figure out what space treaties and things govern, who can do what in space, where we can. Well,
just think about it. Like they're in outer space. They're unmanned drones. We could have like crazy ass shit be going on in outer space because all these countries are like, there's no human life loss. It's just millions upon billions of tax dollars that and we're gonna have like Top Gun in outer space, and nobody's going to be the wiser for it.
I'm going to do some research. I have yet to really spend any real time looking into it. So I know there are several space treaties that,
but those are so dated.
They are all dated, and they probably are due for more. But I think it is pretty much the Wild West out there as we're going to blanket. We even joked about it. It's funny with, we just talked about Falcon 9 launching. Well, they launched 60 more satellites. They're up to like I think it's 480 satellites in orbit right now. And they're close to being able to offer internet based off of their how many satellites they have in orbit now for Starlink. But they're approved for 42,000 low Earth orbit satellites.
They're at 10%. They're at 10%.
But they're approved by the United States FCC, right?
Wait, so 400 or 4,000?
42,000.
42,000. So yeah. Well,
so they're at 400
total.
right now.
They're at 400.
Yeah.
So they're at 1%.
Yeah.
They're at 1% of total satellites up in there.
But it's still just laughable the fact that the United States FCC, the same people that are going to give you your frequencies to go over the air, rabbit ear broadcasting of television shows and stuff like that same body, governmental body, gave a company rights to send satellites across the world, 42,000 of them. Like, why does the United States FCC have the authority to say that, yes, this company can launch and blanket the entire globe with 42,000 satellites?
Yeah, I don't know. Like you would think you would have to ask a few other diplomats if this is good. I mean, America right now is like Christian Slater and Pump Up the Volume. We're just.
Oh man, we got the deep cuts today.
We're just gonna blanket the world and create pirate radio, pirate internet. I fucking love that movie. Shut up. I remember being 9 and seeing an inflatable dick for the first time and be like, "What?"
We gotta end this quarantine so you can go back, start watching movies. We're getting a glimpse at what's happening at home right now. And he's resorted to pump up the volume, guys. We got to get the theaters open.
Man, I'm just showing my age. It's a fucking classic movie, man. And there's at least out of our handful of listeners, there's at least 2 people right now going, "Oh, I fucking love that movie," and they're gonna go home and watch that shit. I promise you.
I'm wondering where you can watch it. Some streaming services has it, right?
It's in the $3 DVD bin at Walmart.
I'm not digging my hands in there. That's full of Corona.
The Rona bin. Oh Jesus!
All right, that's a week in news. That's it. That's everything we got there. So hopefully you were entertained.
Yeah, shout out to my Christian Slater fans and all my Karens out there.
I was going to say,
to all my Karens.
if you were enlightened today to find out that you are in dangerous Karen territory, you're welcome. Go fix your life.
Get your fucking life together.
Maybe we'll turn it into an online quiz that'll capture everybody's data. We'll send it around Facebook or something.
Who Cambridge Analytica this and sell it for $500. Oh Jesus!
But all right. Well, nerds. As always, thanks for listening. If you could, please like, subscribe, and share this with somebody that's continued to build out this community. And I think the last time I looked, we're at like 594 total members or whatever else
we're approaching 600
in the Facebook group. Yeah, let's get this up and over that. Let's keep the group growing and having some good conversations in that group there.
Yeah, man, we have some fun in there. I do really enjoy it.
Yeah,
and
so
once again,
find us.
We got our Patreon page. I know some people are money tight right now. So's the show, so we understand it. So if you want to take one of them Trump dollars that you got and get a free sticker and sign up on Patreon, we'd be more than happy to send you one.
All right, but that all said, thanks for listening. This is a wrap on episode 78.
See you next week, guys.